Well, the government done shut down, and thousands of cruisers have been notified that their cruise has been canceled. Plus, can you believe Carnival is doing this? Yeah, all that and more on today's episode of The Cruise Show.
All aboard! Your ship is leaving. Talking about everything going on in cruising. It's the Lido Loca time. It's the cruise show. It's the cruise show.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to La Lido Loca. Welcome to The Cruise Show. I'm your host, Tony, here to talk you through everything going on in cruising. It's everything going on in cruising. It's for your face. For your face on the second day of October 2025. And well, let's talk about this government shutdown. I guess it was just yesterday. The government has shut down. And of course, it's going to wreak havoc in a lot of places in everyday life. And a big question for all of us cruise travelers is, will it impact cruising? Now, fortunately, the major services that impact cruising will not be shutting down. They're considered essential services like Customs and Border Protection, like the TSA. Most of those organizations that deal with travel remain open because the workers are deemed essential services. Now, the problem that arises is that these workers are being forced to go to work and they are not getting paid. They will not get a paycheck as long as the government is shut down, but they're still required to go to work. And so think about that scenario. Think about you're somebody that is forced to go to work for no pay. And what happens sometimes in that scenario is people will call in sick. And this is when it causes trouble for travelers. If you get a lot of TSA agents calling in sick, this will result in delays at the airport. If you get a lot of Customs and Border Protection agents calling in sick, taking time off, this will result in delays. So while technically there's not going to be an impact on the services that serve travel, the reality is when the rubber meets the road, that people will make decisions that will impact cruising by maybe not going to work. And who can blame them? That's a crazy situation. A lot of times these government shutdowns don't last very long, and hopefully that's the case. Also, we got air traffic controllers. They're essential. They're going to be forced to go to work for no money. But I think in these times, sometimes they call in sick too. So that's something to be aware of if you're traveling during this U.S. government shutdown. I would just give yourself some extra time at every part of the process. Okay. Let's talk about, that's not the best story. Maybe we can talk about a couple of fun things. Do you like music? I'll just hit these real quick. A couple major theme cruises based around music have made announcements for their 2026 cruise. First, we have the Monsters of Rock cruise that will be taking off out of Miami on April the 12th, 2026. And I just wanted to share this. This is put on by the Six Man promotional group. I just wanted to share some of the lineup. This looks like a pretty fun time. This one's very tempting, especially if you're my age. But look, you've got Night Ranger, Twisted Sister, Night Ranger, Sister Christian's what I'm thinking of, Slaughter, Queensryche, Striper, Lita Ford, Quiet Riot, or what's left of Quiet Riot. That's the sad thing about some of these bands as you get older. You don't get the full lineup because, times change. That one's Nelson. I didn't even know Nelson was still getting Steven Adler. That guy was in Guns N' Roses. Monsters of the Rock cruise happening next year out of Miami, April the 12th through the 17th. monstersofrockcruise.com. And then, are you a Celtic punk fan? Let's talk about the Flogging Molly cruise. I know a few Flogging Molly songs. There's a song called The Worst Day Since Yesterday, which if you can stream that, it's a very fun, melancholy song. But look at the lineup here. You're going to get 2 concerts by Flogging Molly and Bad Religion. I think the only reason I know Bad Religion is from the video game Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. I don't know many of these bands at all. I don't know that I would take a whole cruise just to hear It's Been the Worst Day Since Yesterday and You by Bad Religion. But still, do you recognize any of these bands? Would you take this cruise? Leave a comment below. Let's talk about a sad thing. Thousands of cruise passengers notified that their cruises for next year and beyond have been canceled. Norwegian Cruise Line continues to swap up the sailings. They've announced cancellation on 4 cruise ships next year and beyond. We've got cancellations on the Norwegian Gem and the Norwegian Dawn. They're going to actually trade home ports, which is exciting because we're going to get the Norwegian Gem in Tampa. I've been on the Dawn out of Tampa, so this might be, selfishly, this might be a way for me to try out the Norwegian Gem. And then we also got cancellations in November of 26 and December of 26 aboard the Norwegian Joy and the Norwegian Getaway. Now, certainly, if you were already booked on those cruises, you've probably been notified, but just in case you haven't and you have cruises scheduled on those 4 cruise ships, you may want to check your email. They are doing some sort of compensation. I believe everybody's getting a refund. I think that's the way they do it over there. If you get canceled, they just give you back your refund to your form of payment, and then as form of compensation, they're going to be giving out a 10% future cruise credit. Norwegian, I mean, all the cruise lines do it, but it does seem like Norwegian does this a lot. They have a little bit of a smaller fleet than Royal and Carnival. And so they're constantly trying to shift to make sure that they have the right cruise ship in the right place. And thousands of people canceled. Was it you? Were you one? Leave a comment below. Now, I do have a fun picture to show you. There's a whole thing going on with people that are upset because of rerouting of their cruise from warm weather environments up to Canada because of Hurricane Umberto. There's a fun picture that I'm going to show you, and then a scenario I hadn't even thought about until I heard it mentioned. But first, I want to say, look, here we are at the beginning of October, and this is the time traditionally when I release the Monsters of the Lido t-shirts. Now, I haven't really been doing much with t-shirts because my old t-shirt provider, sometimes they weren't good at getting people t-shirts on time. And I spent the last couple months getting set up on Amazon so that we could use Amazon's t-shirts on demand. And the thing that's beautiful about that is you get your t-shirts quick. You can return them easily if you need to. And it's beautiful. So now, without much further ado, I have this year's 3 Monsters of the Lido t-shirts. Each one of them have a front on them that has a different color that says La Lido Loca Monsters of the Lido. And then when you look at the back of the t-shirt, you have this year's monsters. Up first, we have Scary Sloth. Scary Sloth, boo, isn't he scary? Number 2, we've got Captain King Kong, or Captain Kong, with a very wise saying, calm seas do not make skilled captains. And then the third one is, it's alien inspired. Take me to your Lido. Those shirts are on sale now, and they're showing up a day or two. Like I ordered one and I got it the next day. So this is, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. The multiple colors, men's and women's styles. I will leave a link for that for our Amazon shop below, but it's just Amazon/shop La Lido Loca if you want to go get yourself a Halloween or a fall inspired t-shirt. Okay, check out this picture here. If you've been tracking along over the last few days, a lot of ships had to reroute. We had some ships going to Bermuda from New York. We had some ships going to down to the Bahamas from New York, and some of those got rerouted to northern itineraries up the east coast of the United States, ending up in Canada. And well, this was a picture that was posted on Reddit from the cruise port there in Portland, Maine. I love it. It says, "Welcome to northern Bermuda." How about that? Welcome to northern Bermuda. There's people that are rolling with it because that's what you got to do. And then there's people that are completely angry about it. And then there's a small segment of the population that are worried about it because if you have a criminal record, they will not let you into Canada. So this is one of those things. When you go cruising, if you have open warrants, if you owe child support, and if you have a criminal record, there's some places you just can't go. And Canada is one of them. So some of the folks that were planning to go to Bermuda with no issue, planning to go to the Bahamas with no issue, that have past criminal records are now struggling because they're not sure whether or not they're going to be able to get into Canada. So that's something to be thinking about. But yeah, that's cruising during hurricane season normally goes fine, but sometimes it does not. So be aware of that when you're booking those cruises. All right, now let's transition into the portion of the show that I like to call, is Carnival doing that? Is Carnival doing that? The first question of, is Carnival doing that? Carnival has announced that it's going to be leaving New York. At least the Carnival Venezia will be leaving New York. That's cruising Italian style. It seemed like a perfect fit for New York. And every year that cruise ship has been spending part of its year in New York. New York City Well, no more. Starting in the 2027-2028 cruising season, Venezia will be 100% down in Miami doing sailings to the Caribbean. And shockingly, I think this move of the Venezia down to Miami, I think it leaves New York without a Carnival cruise ship. It's been going there every year since 2023, and it will be going there no more. Are you in the city? I'll be in the city next week on the 9th, a week from today. Are you there? Does this bum you out? Leave a comment below. And now my second story in the "Is that really what Carnival is doing?" segment is a pretty fantastic story. Word has come out that Carnival has announced that it will be partnering with Global Food Banking Network to send food to Latin America through that organization, the Global Food Banking Network. There's a lot of talk on cruise ships about food surpluses, about, not wasting food. And from time to time, cruise ships have good food that they don't have a use for. And now they're going to be taking that high quality surplus food and putting it into this food bank network so that it can feed people that don't have food. So is Carnival really doing this? Yes. And way to go, Carnival. Kudos to Carnival. Look, that's everything that's going on in cruising. Help us get to 300,000 subscribers. We're almost there. Subscribe. Doesn't cost anything. Love to have you as part of the Loca fam. Thank you so much for checking out today's episode. Don't forget to check the link on the t-shirts. This is Tony for La Lido Loca. Until next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.